Shrouding the Heavens, Episode 74. In the previous conversation about the painting machine, Ye Fan had asked Zhang Wu, his grandfather, a question, and Zhang Wu did not intend to hide the truth from him. He revealed everything, explaining that after leaving the Zhang family, he became elusive, and even his own family did not know his whereabouts. Once, he disappeared for over 6 months and then returned with 2 special infants. Ye Fan realized they were the ancestors of the Wang and Lei families, and these infants possessed extraordinary strength, even able to lift adults, which shocked Ye Fan. He quickly linked this to stories of mysterious bloodlines, suspecting the children might not be human. Zhang Wu confirmed this by revealing that the children had double pupils, glowing foreheads, and silver blood. Ye Fan was further astonished, wondering if they had divine powers. Yuan Tianxi, who brought the children back, had sealed them and allowed them to integrate into the human race through marriage with human women. Any strange offspring born would also be sealed, but he never disclosed their origins. Over the generations, the Wang and Lei families became more like ordinary people, though occasionally, special children with strange abilities would appear. This made Ye Fan ponder many things, such as Yuan Tianxi's ominous late years, the mysterious bloodline, and the terrifying death god which made him feel small. Ye Fan wondered if he would experience the same fate if he became Yuan Tianxi, but he quickly dismissed these thoughts, deciding to enter seclusion to cultivate and become stronger. He planned to use the salt in his possession to enhance his strength, but to avoid causing a commotion, Ye Fan chose to seclude himself underground. Over the next half-month, he remained in quiet seclusion, and on the 16th day, he sensed a transformation in his body, having reached the great perfection of the Wheel Sea. He then sought out another place to break into the Dao Palace secret realm. The Dao Palace realm is full of mysteries, and its 5 divine forms correspond to the 5 organs of the human body. This realm is essential for those seeking immortality and future accomplishments. After much effort, Ye Fan opened the door to the Dao Palace realm, officially becoming a Dao Palace cultivator. His breakthrough caused a massive disturbance, with martial energy soaring into the sky. The momentum of Ye Fan's breakthrough was far greater than that of the young Saint Master, and people from 100 miles away noticed this phenomenon, wondering if another divine body had emerged in the ancient families. Curious cultivators from miles away rushed to witness who was causing such a commotion. Now a Dao Palace cultivator, Ye Fan faced the choice of which divine form to cultivate first. After some thought, he chose the divine heart treasure, as the heart is the ruler of the body and the foundation of all. He held a fiery figure in his hand, the perfect treasure for cultivating the divine heart treasure. His Wheel Sea cultivated yin and yang, and the 5 organs became the 5 elements, as if he were opening a world within his body, advancing further into the Dao Palace realm to cultivate divine treasures. At that moment, Ye Fan felt a profound sense of unity with heaven and earth, merging with nature. He was deeply satisfied with his strength, and now he no longer feared anyone of the same rank. With the battle victory technique, the great void shift, and the invincible body of the ancient sacred physique, Ye Fan felt confident in his ability to survive, no matter how strong his enemies were. However, he still faced an issue with his new technique. While he had obtained part of Yaoxi's new technique at Zishan, it only temporarily solved his immediate needs. For him, the most important task now was to obtain a legitimate new technique. Upon returning to the village, Grandfather Zhang found him and informed him that the second rascal, Yangshu, had undergone astonishing changes. Ever since following Ye Fan, Yangshu had gained immense strength, and his forehead glowed as though his bloodline had awakened. Grandfather Zhang, not daring to let them leave the house, kept them indoors. When Ye Fan visited Yangshu's house, he immediately sensed a surge of vitality. Yangshu was sleeping soundly, with his forehead glowing like polished jade, and Ye Fan recognized this as a sign of divine power. Not long ago, Yangshu had been an ordinary person, but now he possessed great strength, which made Ye Fan reflect on how some races were naturally blessed. Even without training, they could awaken their bloodline and possess immense power, whereas human cultivators had to toil to gain divine strength. Ye Fan gathered Yangshu's uncle and others to examine their physical changes, suspecting that breaking the 9 stones had caused this transformation. Yangshu confirmed this, as divine power now flowed through them like water, signaling the awakening of their divine souls. Ye Fan had them prick their fingers to examine their blood, which had a faint silver hue. Clearly, even in ancient times, they would have been regarded as royalty among their race. Later, Ye Fan performed further experiments, inserting a divine stone into their foreheads. Fortunately, the divine stone indicated that they were still human, so there was no fear of them being mistaken for ancient beasts. This piqued Ye Fan's curiosity about the strange stones sealed in Yaoxi's celestial stone room, as they likely related to their bloodline. Upon learning that they could cultivate, Yangshu and Uncle Wang were overjoyed, even skipping meals to ask Ye Fan to teach them to fly. In the following days, Ye Fan trained them in controlling their powers, though Grandfather Zhang remained worried. After speaking with Ye Fan, however, the Grandmaster sighed in relief, as Ye Fan reassured him that they had long been assimilated as humans, and it was merely a matter of awakening their talents. There was no need for concern, as they would be more than capable of defending the village in the future. From that day on, the villagers often saw the two flying around, and no one referred to Yangshu by his nickname anymore. They started using his real name. Half a month passed, during which Ye Fan continued his studies, paying close attention to the remaining women in Yaoxi. By this time, he had fully grasped the first chapter of the Yuan Tianshu and felt the need to verify his learning. However, just then, the villagers found him in a panic, informing him that Grandfather Zhang was dying. To Ye Fan, Grandfather Zhang was a benefactor, having taught him the basics of Yuan's techniques and entrusted him with treasures. Grandfather Zhang had even entrusted Ye Fan with the family treasure, which allowed him to retreat safely from the mountain, and he gave him the invaluable Yuan Tianshu, a precious artifact. For these reasons, Grandfather Zhang was undoubtedly Ye Fan's benefactor. Upon hearing that Grandfather Zhang was injured, Ye Fan rushed over to discover that the harm had been inflicted by disciples from the Qingxia Sect. They had tried to force Grandfather Zhang to work for them, and when he refused, they humiliated him. The village youths, armed with curved swords, had tried to stand up to the intruders, but the Qingxia Sect disciples were unfazed and arrogant. They mocked the old man, saying he preferred the cup of punishment over respect, referring to his refusal to help them mine the garden. Upon hearing this, Ye Fan's face darkened. He couldn't stand by while his benefactor was bullied. He stepped forward to confront the Qingxia Sect disciples, who sneered at him initially. However, the moment they felt Ye Fan's imposing aura, their expressions changed instantly. They realized they were facing a formidable opponent and lost their arrogance. One of them, still trying to save face, coldly asked, "Who are you?" Ye Fan didn't respond with words. Instead, he let out a cold snort, and in an instant, a wave of powerful energy surged forward, sending the Qingxia Sect disciples flying backward. They fell to the ground, trembling in fear, completely overwhelmed by the strength and power Ye Fan possessed. One of the Qingxia Sect disciples sneered, "I think he's lost his mind," as another raised his hand high, preparing to slap Grandfather Zhang. But to everyone's surprise, the slap didn't land on Grandfather Zhang's face. It struck the disciple's own face. At that moment, Ye Fan appeared, coldly helping Grandfather Zhang to stand while circulating life energy to heal and stabilize his injuries. Slowly, the wounds began to repair. The disciple, humiliated by the self-inflicted slap, flew into a rage, but before he could retaliate, Ye Fan sent him flying with a powerful slap. Just then, Uncle Wang and Elder Lei arrived, their strength having grown significantly over the past half-month of training, now comparable to Divine Bridge cultivators. Ye Fan ordered them to kill all the enemies, ensuring no one escaped. One by one, the Qingxia Sect disciples fell to the ground. During the fight, Elder Lei discovered that the Qingxia Sect had been colluding with Chen Dahuzi, which enraged the second rascal, who thought of his sister and nearly went mad. After dispatching the enemies, Ye Fan didn't wait around for more to arrive. Seeing the slap mark on Grandfather Zhang's face made him resolve to destroy the Qingxia Sect completely. The Qingxia Sect was a dominant force in the region with access to abundant resources. Ye Fan realized that not only could he eliminate a threat, but he could also seize the opportunity to build his own sect, gaining a wealth of resources in the process. However, before Ye Fan could make his move, a day later, cultivators from the Qingxia Sect came looking for him. A powerful Other Shore Realm cultivator led 9 Divine Bridge Realm cultivators, all unleashing their weapons. Yet, Ye Fan killed them with a single strike and crushed their weapons with one hand. Soon after, he led Elder Lei and Uncle Wang to the Qingxia Sect's base. After eliminating several insignificant figures, Ye Fan declared his intentions. He wanted to challenge the Qingxia Sect leader to a battle. The gatekeepers were stunned, having never witnessed such audacity. They believed the Qingxia Sect was untouchable, not realizing their leader was no more than a slightly bigger ant in the grand scheme of things. Though the sect ruled only a small area, they occupied a strategic territory. After Ye Fan broke through the Qingxia Sect's mountain gate, the battle began in earnest. Countless Qingxia Sect disciples charged forward, attempting to kill Ye Fan, but they couldn't withstand even one strike from him. The sound of cracking echoed as their weapons shattered, and over 100 Divine Bridge Realm cultivators were sent flying. Ye Fan had come prepared, deploying the Taoist inscriptions he had crafted, sealing the area to prevent anyone from escaping. When the Qingxia Sect disciples saw the sheer force of Ye Fan's power, they realized they were no match for him and hurriedly went to find the sect's elders. Meanwhile, Ye Fan stood at the mountain gate, a flash of light behind him as 108 large flags appeared, each inscribed with a sealing technique. He had spent all of the previous day crafting them, and the inscriptions immediately locked down the mountain gate. The gatekeepers were terrified, stumbling back and shouting, "Who are you?" Ye Fan smiled lightly. "I am your future leader," Ye Fan declared confidently. He then remarked that the Qingxia Sect, despite being influential in the north, was nothing compared to the challenges he had already faced. Ye Fan had battled saint sons and daughters from the Holy Lands and had even confronted holy masters. Qingxia Sect and its elders were trivial in comparison to his previous opponents, like the Dao Palace realm Saintess of Yaoguang, whom he had already defeated. Ye Fan admired the location of the Qingxia Sect, noting it was a far better place for cultivation than Grandfather Zhang's small stone village oasis. As he considered the sect's potential, an elder descended from the sky, landing at the mountain gate and challenging Ye Fan. Upon learning that Ye Fan intended to establish his own sect here, the elder mocked him, belittling his youth. However, when Ye Fan suddenly teleported in front of him, the elder realized he had severely underestimated his opponent. Ye Fan mentioned the Qingxia Sect's collusion with bandits, and the elder, sensing danger, likely considered silencing him. But Ye Fan acted swiftly, destroying the elder's 7 prized weapons in an instant without even scratching his own hand. Realizing his mistake, the elder understood that his doom was sealed. With a single move, Ye Fan sent the elder flying, and moments later the elder exploded into pieces. Ye Fan's overwhelming power resembled that of a demon god. To him, the elder was insignificant. His real concerns were the Holy Lands and noble families, the true challengers in his eyes. The Qingxia Sect gatekeepers were left trembling in fear, shocked that their elder had been so easily crushed. Yet, the sect was not ready to surrender. Several powerful figures, including a Dao Palace realm cultivator, surrounded Ye Fan and his companions, hoping to silence them. Ye Fan was momentarily surprised that the Qingxia Sect had Dao Palace realm cultivators, but only slightly. Once he unleashed the battle victory technique, all but the Qingxia Sect's Grand Elder were killed. The Grand Elder, terrified of Ye Fan's power, hoped that the sect leader and other elders, currently in seclusion, would come to his aid. But Ye Fan shook his head, stating, "It's useless, no one can save you." Desperate, the Grand Elder unleashed over a dozen weapons, causing the area to collapse. From afar, Qingxia Sect disciples cheered, thinking Ye Fan had been buried. However, they soon fell silent as Ye Fan emerged, holding the sun and moon in his grasp. A massive red sun, as large as a mountain, formed above his head and quickly obliterated the arrogant Grand Elder, who had underestimated the heavens and earth. Many Qingxia Sect disciples, overwhelmed by Ye Fan's supreme might, knelt in submission. This was one of the 9 ultimate techniques, representing the pinnacle of martial prowess. Ye Fan had always believed in using full strength, even against lesser opponents like rabbits. He knew the Qingxia Sect, having controlled the area for so long, likely had hidden resources, and he didn't want to repeat the mistakes his previous adversaries had made. At this moment, Ye Fan stood like an unstoppable young demon king, radiating an aura of invincibility. Inside the Qingxia Sect, a massacre unfolded, terrifying all the disciples and leaving them trembling in fear. As the chaos ensued, 10 powerful cultivators at the Dao Palace realm arrived. Though they were considered enemies of the Qingxia Sect, Ye Fan saw them merely as stepping stones to test his full strength. The Qingxia Sect leader, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, tried to take the moral high ground, accusing Ye Fan of slander. But Ye Fan, unimpressed, exposed the sect's collusion in forced labor and their heinous acts, particularly against the miners. This enraged the second rascal, as the sect had killed his sister and now twisted their evil deeds into so-called good acts. Even Ye Fan, usually calm, was infuriated. He vowed to crush the entire Qingxia Sect that day. Knowing there was no chance for a peaceful resolution, the sect abandoned any concern over Ye Fan's origins. Confident in their power, the Qingxia Sect believed not even the holy masters of the great holy lands in their youth could withstand the combined might of 10 Dao Palace realm cultivators, let alone this unknown wanderer. The leader, sneering, remarked, "You've left yourself no way out. Don't blame us for being ruthless." Ye Fan, however, remained unfazed, stating that the Qingxia Sect would become history, ceasing to exist forever. As the 10 Dao Palace cultivators united their power into a massive formation, launching a fierce attack on Ye Fan, they quickly realized their mistake. Ye Fan had now fully grasped the power of the Dao Palace realm, easily neutralizing the combined attack with his golden fist. Their astonishment was palpable as they saw the true might of his abilities. The Qingxia Sect leader, filled with dread, realized that if Ye Fan continued to grow, they would stand no chance against him in a year or two. Desperate, a Grand Elder summoned 81 Black Lotuses, aiming to split Ye Fan's soul and devour his divine energy. But the power of the 9 mysteries was far beyond their reach. Instantly, a vast golden ocean appeared behind Ye Fan, raising 7 massive bronze waves that shattered the Black Lotuses in an instant. Ye Fan's overwhelming strength, combined with the battle victory technique, allowed him to strike down the Grand Elder in a single blow, leaving the remaining 9 Dao Palace cultivators in utter shock. In their desperation, the 9 remaining cultivators formed a great sandstorm formation, hoping to trap Ye Fan. But with his left hand forming the lunar seal and his right hand the solar seal, Ye Fan invoked his power as if pushing the sun and moon. The sheer force of his killing intent struck fear into the hearts of the Qingxia Sect disciples, while those who faced him directly were left in unbearable agony. At this moment, Ye Fan had far surpassed even the young holy masters in strength. And now, friends, if Ye Fan were to establish his own sect, what would it be called? To find out, follow for updates. See you in the next episode.